name is Morgan Knowlton. I am 20 years old and I am a junior at Southeastern University. I love Disney. I used to go to Disney all the time with my family. We would go on like family reunions, and one of my first memories is there was like almost 30 of us and we were all in front of the castle taking a picture together. I've always wanted to work at Disney because it's such a magical place and I love it so much. I've always loved Disney growing up. I would come home from school, elementary school, and I would get my Belle dress on and I would walk around the house singing Beauty and the Beast with my little Belle doll that I had. I've always done theater. I've always been like a theater kid. I started doing plays with my church and community when I was like in kindergarten, first grade. So it was just a natural transition for me to want to work at Disney as a character. I actually saw a Facebook post that Disney posted with a link to an audition calendar, and they actually have a website called DisneyAuditions.com. You will find out on the calendar when the audition is, where it is, what time, what day. When we first got there, it was pretty hard to find, and we were able to find a parking spot, and there were actually not a lot of people there because I got there about an hour early, and then right at the time, like right at noon, they started checking in people. Once we got through to the front desk, there was just a line, and you just stood in line outside the door of the rehearsal hall. There was a table at the very back corner of the room, and you just handed them your resume and headshot, and they wrote your name down, and you signed a waiver, and then they gave you a number. So I talked to one girl who was actually a med student. She was like 25, and that was her first audition. So she was in line behind me, and we just kind of talked. There were some who were already actually cast members who were characters. There was a Snow White there was a Tinkerbell there, and a lot of them though were very competitive. A lot of the princesses found it very competitive. One girl even said, we asked one girl who was friends with Snow White, what to expect, and she says she's not gonna help the competition. So it was very intense. It was just an atmosphere of competition. Like, it was very competitive, very intimidating. So when they did start the actual audition process, they called 1 through 50 up, and they lined you up in the big room. Everyone else continued to mingle and just hang out. And then once 1 through 50 were lined up and in order, they led us back into a very small dance studio room. And the main guy who was actually doing the auditions, he stood up in front of everyone. There was a table there in front of the mirrors.
Ladies and gentlemen, I need you to be smiling at all times. You never know when I may be looking at you. Also, most of you will not make it today. We need an exact match.
So they had us stand in line, and then he sat at the table with the resumes, and they had the resumes numbered. So resume 1 was corresponded with the first person. So he looked at the resume, he looked at you, and then he just sat there and just kept going down the line, and then the rows would switch. So the first row would go to the back, and then you would move up a row. And you just stood there and smiled, and you didn't really do anything but smile, look at them. Some of them waved, some of them did certain little poses, but all you did mainly is smile. At that point, it was really intimidating because there were a lot of people and you didn't really know what to do. So it was kind of awkward because you didn't talk at all, you didn't interact at all. You just stood there silently and smiled for 5 minutes. That's all you did. At the very end, once he looks at the last person, he takes a few minutes to look at his list to see what numbers he has, and then he'll stand up and he'll say, okay guys, that concludes the first stage. If I call your number, you're going to go exit the door and go to your left down to the next door. If your number's not called, thank you for coming. We're going to keep your resumes on hand just in case we decide to call you guys back later. But at this point, you guys are allowed to leave.
If I call your number, that means you have made it to the next round. Congratulations. 17, 30, 48, 50. If I did not call your number, that means you did not make it to the next round. We appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
My number was not called. Number 30 was called, and I was number 32. So it was kind of it made my heart jump a little because it made me really nervous at that point, but my number was not called. And I was a little disappointed because I worked so hard on my monologue and I didn't even get to do that. But it was a little down-putting because, you didn't make it. One of the girls who was currently friends with a princess, she turned around to us and she said, better luck next time. and then she left because she actually made it to the next round. That kind of made me a little upset, but other than that, I was 18. I still got like 7 more years, so I wasn't really too upset. They didn't think I matched the character, which, is their call. It had nothing to do with me personally, because they didn't know me personally. They just judged you on your smile and how you looked.
So after they're cutting it, you still like Disney?
I just love the magic of Disney. It's got something for all ages. Even if you're a 20-year-old, you can still find enjoyment at Disney. I love Disney. I really love Disney.